Sean here. I started making this video last night. Unfortunately, I've injured myself again. I got a recurring spinal injury. It's nothing that's too serious, but I can't move my left leg, which is my lead leg. So I tried to tough it out in boxing last night. Yeah, no, that wasn't happening. Every time I moved, my leg would buckle. Got home, tried to make a video. But if I tried to adjust, I basically had to grab my own leg and lift it up. I do this several times a year, and I usually have to go and they put me on steroids. I'd love to blame somebody else, but I can't. Which leads me into today's topic, which is imaginary rivalries. Lorne Armstrong. Imaginary rivalries stem from two things: being over-competitive or just really competitive, and insecurity. One of the reasons Lorne does it, and I don't even know if he knows why he does it, but as soon as he gets into a situation and he hears another man's name, or he hears something that he just doesn't really like, a situation he doesn't really like, anything that could put his catfish woman within a mile radius of a penis, he latches onto. But for the sake of today's video, we're going to talk about the doctor, the therapist. We're going to talk about Alex with Casey. That's what we're going to talk about. You know, Dan, come on, man. You would have been a rival for anyone. You got your girlfriend. You know what? We don't need to get into it. But imaginary rivalries for Lorne, he latches onto them immediately because he knows if anything goes wrong, he can remember back to right from the fucking beginning, right from day one. Day one to Lorne is the first time he felt angry. Most of us, our memories come flooding back. I have some memory issues from a very bad car accident. And sometimes when I see a picture, it's almost movie-like. All of the memories come flooding back, and sometimes it hurts. Or I'll say something out loud. It's pretty weird. Not something I'm proud of. It's not something I think is cool either. I'm just sharing that pictures, music, movies, maybe even going somewhere. But that is not how he operates. Lorne's memories involve memories. Anger, sadness. That's pretty much all he has. Occasionally we'll get that smoker's laugh, but it's usually when it's an awkward situation or when he's lying. Most of the time it's when he's lying. The reason I bring this up is that Lorne can remember things that made him angry, made him unhappy, things that disrupted his day, frustrated. That's how he tags memories. As I said before, we tagged him in a normal way. In the latest Casey call, when he's spouting one of the most confusing sentences in the history of Lorneography, he's telling her about Alex and about how Alex spent the night, and he said, "Do you remember the time, 3 weeks ago, and it was the week before that I told you in the past 2 weeks that it was going to become a pattern?" He was talking about Alex spending the night. Now, he still doesn't understand that Casey has control. I just want to point that out. He still thinks Alex is the one who's coming over to her house. And Alex, because he expects it, he's going to get it. As Lorne would say, "Do you see the hint here?" He can recall things vividly that he remembers tagged with emotion. If you go back and listen to those calls, he can't remember what he said in the past because those are his responses. Those are things that he just spouted out to deflect. I don't know what else you would call it, because basically Lorne is Mr. Deflect, Captain Deflect. Redirect. Okay, when he asks those questions, when she asks a question that you didn't earn a ladder, when you climb it on the 3rd day of the 4th month, and there's another thing I expect to hear come out of. I saw one of the funniest comments. Oh my God, I love the comment section. Alex is climbing a ladder that Lorne didn't earn. Love it. But back to the imaginary rivalries. Now he has something to go back to. So if anything goes wrong, he can just go back to the moment he was first pissed off. He can recall how he felt, and he can pull back that emotion. See, we remember things. We remember details. Lorne can't remember details. He admits it. So what I'm saying has been proven by Mr. Penis himself. I'm similar in a way. I can remember the emotions, but I can also remember details. I just think that if Lorne would stop, look at his situation, then he could go back and learn from it. But he can't. But he does remember those emotions. and those emotions come back. So he pulls those emotions back. We pull details back. He pulls the anger he's had back. So again, Lorne anchors to emotion. We do not. Casey does not. Alex does not. Which is why it's maddening when they talk to him, because they're like, yes, you did, Lorne. No, I didn't. You see, and he'll remember something about a penis or pajamas or spending the night because it made him angry. And again, when you're dealing with somebody who pulls all the details that they have as emotions and not as facts, you're going to get that rage monster. I think Lorne sees himself as playing this complicated chess game in Iceland against Boris Spassky back in the 70s. Everything's riding on this game. Lorne doesn't realize that the other person's not even on the same board. Lorne has a single piece, a pawn. He doesn't know any other moves except going straight ahead until he runs into something. So he's on this board, he's moving one square at a time, and he thinks on the other side, I guess in his head, he's got all the pieces, the other person is down to the king, and all he has to do is trap it. I really don't know what he sees in his head, but I think he believes he's the master of emotional chess. He's the master of relationship chess. The truth is, the other person is winning without even trying, because Lorne's one move is anger. Well, besides passive aggressive, spend the night, Uber, He loses every time because the other guy, well, in real life, they probably wouldn't know that the other guy is an alcoholic, drunken, unrepentant pedophile. They probably don't even know that guy exists. I can't imagine in the first place a woman would be choosing between somebody like Alex Jones. He is in trouble financially because of the trial, because of what he said about Sandy Hook. But he's famous and driven, and he is successful. Whether you like him or not, he's a powerful person. He has a lot of clout. In society right now, superficially, they measure men, and I don't know if Lorne measures men. I really don't know how he measures himself up to other men. But in society, they measure between looks, power, and money. And if that's the case, if that's what Lorne believes that he's being measured by, that's why he always says money doesn't matter, looks don't matter. I believe that's some unintentional conditioning that he's doing. That's an entirely different video. So maybe he's prepping them. Looks don't matter, money don't matter. Remember when he said to the first Casey, I don't even know, it was like 50 Caseys, I don't know. But the first Casey, which I believe was played by Tiffany, and he's telling her, I guess you found another family more white and powerful than mine is. Which is weird that he would say that, because his family has zero power. None. Maybe he measures power between family members. Maybe that's why he can't understand why a young, beautiful, successful actress is not going to want to have anything to do with him. So Alex probably doesn't even know who Lorne is if he was real. Now Casey is dealing with the guy. Number one, Lorne's at a loss because Alex is in person. But Lorne doesn't understand that the way to win a woman's heart, is to be yourself, be honest, really try to understand where they're coming from. Care about their feelings more than yours. If you pretend to be somebody that you're not, it's my experience that women have a radar 15 times, 20 times as strong as any man to be able to sense bullshit with someone of the opposite sex, mainly because we probably think with a different head. Lorne thinks with one very crooked small head. He thinks everything is about sex. But we're not talking about that. What we're talking about is the fact that Alex Jones on the other side is simply being a normal guy. And the goal in a relationship is that you both feel comfortable around each other. You feel as happy as you can possibly be. If you start to feel too unhappy, you recognize, man, I probably need to get out of this situation. Of course, Lorne can't get out because he's desperate. But we're talking about Casey here. She's got Alex, who's ticking all of those boxes, who she finds attractive, and not just for his looks, but because he is motivated, he is driven. Lorne has none of those qualities. So Alex is just being himself and winning the game. And Lorne, his only move is to look across the table and point out all of the flaws and how Alex is moving the pieces, whether or not Alex adjusted a piece after he moved it. And when Lorne loses, he loves to call illegal move. Essentially, he's calling an illegal move. He's pointing out that the other person did something so unforgivable that there's no way that this woman should ever like this guy, even though she stated that she did. The goal of insecurity-based imaginary rivalries, one-sided rivalries, is not to lift you or your teammates up. It's to bring everybody else down because you're too unmotivated, you're too lazy, you're unsuccessful. So rather than try to step up your game, you just want everybody to come down to your trailer of failure and orbit around it. He went right to of Alex's opinions, what made him famous, these conspiracy theories. A lot of what he said turned out to be right. Now, a lot of what he said didn't. But I think when you're spouting conspiracy theories in a climate like we have, eventually you're going to hit. But that's what Lorne went back to. And he started calling Casey a retard, just like he called Debbie, "You're a stupid motherfucker anyway, if you've got anything to do with Xavier." He called her a retard if she had anything to do with Alex Jones, because he's retarded. So again, every guy is some piece of shit. They're a retard, they're gay, making cocks on your plate. He doesn't have anything else except attacking the other person. So this imaginary rivalry he creates, and here's the issue, the real issue. When you have a one-sided imaginary rivalry, now I had one with Slash, but it was just for fun. Now in a normal one, when the other person finds out that you've worked yourself up into a frenzy, all of these things that you truly believe, they're going to want to talk to you, try to be like, "Wow, I didn't know you felt that way," or "I need to stay away from this person," whatever it is. You know, "Sorry, I didn't know you were taking it that way. I didn't mean anything. My bad." But not with Lorne, because Lorne starts out, he knows who that other person is, even if they don't know it. I know you say you don't understand it, but I do. If Lorne thinks the other person has ulterior motives, and we know he does, every guy is thinking only about sex. So if she lost her apartment, say something really bad happened, and financially she couldn't afford it, but her friend Alex said, "Look, I'll give you this money that'll pay for a month's rent until you get back on your feet." Lorne wouldn't understand that was out of friendship. He would think that was completely sexual. From the beginning, he sets the parameters. He identifies who he thinks that other guy is and what he thinks Casey's doing and how he thinks they interact. And he's got it all mapped out in his head because he really knows what's going on. So he's playing this one-sided game, as I said, with that single pawn, moving it forward. The other people don't even know that they're playing, and it reaches a fever pitch, and this is when Lorne loses it. And so it would always be a shock to the woman, asking questions like, "Lorne, where is this coming from? When did I ever say that happened? How many times did the catfish women say that? When did I ever say that happened? When did I say I was on the internet all goddamn night? When did I say I was around my druggy friends at a party? When did I say I was drinking? When did I say there was a guy over at my house?" They always ask Lorne that question of, where did this come from? So this one-sided rivalry, Lorne all of a sudden attacks the woman. Let's say the woman goes, "Wow, what's wrong?" "Oh, well, there's this guy I've been talking to, and this is what's going on, this is what's happening, this is what he thinks," which is why Lorne didn't want Will to talk to anybody else. He didn't want anybody to know what was going on with Jamie. He didn't want Will to talk to Jamie. All of these people he's been going off on, everything he said, this imaginary situation, she's going to have to, she doesn't even understand it, but he does. She doesn't even understand it, so she's going to have to explain it to these other guys. Like, I don't know what's going on, this is what he's saying. She can't repeat it back. It's like some of the rules, and I'm going to say pro wrestling again, for some of the matches, and they're trying to read the stipulations out, and the announcers don't even understand it. So because Lorne created this, and nobody else was involved, and there was no real interaction with another guy, it was all one-sided. He's never spoken to the other guy, because in real life, if there's a male friend, chances are, if you're boyfriend, girlfriend, you're going to meet the other guy. And guys are pretty good at picking up whether someone else is trying to piss in their territory. These rivalries, these emotional relationship chess games don't have any right to exist. They're not together. She never asked him to compete with Alex. There is no competition. She asked Lorne to get to know her, and she could get to know him. And he measures relationships in terms of time and love in terms of time. Well, we spent all this time together, we must be in love, and he can never define it. So these games, they shouldn't even exist. But when you are insecure, you are competing with everybody. Not in a good way. You're trying to bring them down, remember? He's trying to, instead of getting his shit together, doing something with his life, getting motivated and saying, there's more to life than this. He wants her to understand that just because Alex is good looking, successful, and just because Alex is motivated, that doesn't mean anything. Look at me. Well, we could look at you, Lorne. We've mentioned it in the past several videos of how much in debt you are. We've mentioned that you don't have a job, you don't have any motivation, you don't have any plan for the future. So there is no competition, and he knows it. So he's going to play the entire game, and I think Lorne would be the guy if he was playing a real game of chess and he lost or he was about to lose, he'd slap the pieces off the board. That's kind of what he wants to do with the other guys. He just wants to get them out of there. I don't want to have to compete anymore. I'm tired. Remember, Ramona, I'm tired of it. 9 months. He's competed, he's lost, he will always lose, so he wants the game to be over. And if you look at it, like that chess game I'm talking about, he started it. There was no competition. Ramona at no time said, Lorne, you have to be worried about the doctor, until he pushed it to the point that she had to. If you know much about the Bobby Fischer versus Boris Spassky game, which I was heavy into chess for a while, and I loved reading books about Bobby Fischer. I found him fascinating. You know all of the antics he did. He was insecure, but he was also paranoid and possibly was on the spectrum. He was very competitive. He wanted to win. He wanted to win at all costs. Lorne is not competitive. He's very insecure, and there would be lots of antics if it was a real chess game. Anything to try to bring the other person, mentally affect them, make them not even want to play the game, wanting them to forfeit rather than climbing a ladder, rather than earning the victory. If Lorne used it in a positive way to say, oh, you want to treat her well? Oh, you want to do this for her? Watch what I do. Let me show her just how caring and compassionate I am. Let me show her that I think I love her. But he doesn't do that. He uses these rivalries in the most negative way possible. Have you ever played a game with somebody and they just make it miserable? They make it unenjoyable. You love the game, but they're destroying it for you. Maybe you're out on the court playing a basketball game and there's that one guy calls a foul every shot, complaining about everything, and the sport that you love is now miserable. You get a ball hog, which would be Lorne. Look at me, pay attention to me, make me the center of attention, concentrate on me, please. I wish he understood that if you're going to try to play these games, if you're going to try to have somebody to compete against, you have to play by the rules. You have to commit to the game, and you have to try to win. You don't try to make them lose. You know, Lorne's the guy who would fight not to lose. He wouldn't fight to win. He does the minimum. He won't change. He will never change. He hasn't tried to improve his skills. Somebody should recommend, Lorne, you need to take some classes or read some books and learn how to be a better person, learn how to treat women, learn how to talk to them. But he won't. He's been playing the same game against the same types of people and losing every single time. So he needs to stop creating these rivalries and just be the best person that he can be. That's my video for today. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next one. What?